Hey, what is up guys, nKuch here, welcome back to another video. Over the past 2 days, I was lucky enough to be invited out to play Anthem before the release as part of the EA Game Changers program. Now they paid for my flights and hotel and even fed me some food, most notably some Sour Patches. I love those things. Anyways guys, this content that you're seeing on screen is near final, but still a work in progress build of the game. Now things that you may see on screen now may change before the release of the full game on the 22nd of February, so I thought just throw that out there just in case. Today we'll be diving down the rabbit hole that is Anthem, and I'll be trying to explain basic aspects of the game to those of you who may not have seen a lot of footage. I'll also be sharing my experience with the game after playing a bunch of content for 6 to 8 hours and giving you guys my honest opinions on absolutely everything. So let us begin. To sum it all up in basic terms, Anthem is a vast open world looter shooter with tons of abilities. So many in fact that it's more of a looter ability spam fest rather than a shooter, and I mean spam fest in a good way. This may sound familiar, and I'll be honest, before I played it, it was sounding a little bit like Destiny, but they share pretty little in common once you take a look under the hood. The game seems like it has a pretty interesting story from the get-go from what I've seen thus far, and the cinematics themselves are absolutely breathtaking. Now the strongest asset this game has is the customization of your javelin and its abilities. I only played for, like I mentioned, 6 to 8 hours, but I had unlocked a variety of different weapons and abilities, all of which looked and felt pretty damn good. Now there's synergy between specific abilities, and each has a specific effect, making loadouts and builds super unique to each user. For those that don't already know, you can think of a javelin as a suit of armor that your character uses to fight the bad guys. There are 4 different types of javelins. There's the Colossus, the Interceptor, Ranger, and Storm, and each of these provide you with a unique experience, but they all have their specialties as well as their deficiencies in certain aspects of combat. This is why grabbing a full team of 4 and going out there is the most fun in my opinion. Teamwork is pretty vital, and it feels like everybody has their own specific role that they're fulfilling. Seeing all of these different javelins using special abilities at the same time in a massive dungeon is the equivalence of scientists just smashing particles into each other. It's just beautiful chaos. Now that you're all caught up in the world of Anthem, let me share my personal experience as someone who was a little unsure of the game before they tried it out. Now of course, I come from a PvP background in Destiny, but this game doesn't have PvP whatsoever, so I was a bit worried that the PvE experience might get a little bit stale after a while. In fact, that's exactly what happened in Destiny 1 when it first launched, but luckily PvP always held me over to the next content drop. Now I was expecting to play this game and like it, but the feelings I got were much stronger than just liking it. The game has that wow factor that really makes you tunnel visioned for hours on end. I even think I caught myself at one point saying "this is amazing" out loud during an intense fight with a boss. Now at first, I'll be honest, I was a little overwhelmed, and the amount of stuff that was going on was a little bit hard to keep track of. While I was getting used to some of the controls and key bindings, I was also learning my javelin's abilities, and by the time I got the hang of them, I was getting more powerful and different abilities that were replacing my old ones. So things were constantly fluid, and my character was uniquely evolving after what felt like every single mission or free play session. This likely won't be an issue for you specifically, or anybody else for that matter, as you can play the game at your own pace, and you don't really have to, be limited by the play session that you have and the amount of time that you have, as I was, and you'll have time to really digest everything, which is great. Even though my situation made things complicated, I still got a great amount of satisfaction in mastering simple things like getting combo hits on enemies and learning how to correctly chain in-flight mechanics and movements. This is a feature of the game that is absolutely spot on. The flying and movement just feels so good, especially on a controller. Now if you're playing on a mouse, then flying your javelin will take some time to learn, as it's similar to flying a real aircraft. It's hard to describe, but input from your mouse doesn't instantly affect your flight direction in the way that you'd imagine. It's almost like it's delayed, but not in a glitchy way, but rather a realistic movement type of way. I can't really describe it, but one thing that I can recommend if you don't like the mouse feel when you're flying is to just lower your DPI or sensitivity. But overall, everything is smooth. It happens quickly, and if you're good enough to chain some movements and jumps, you look like an absolute badass who's been playing the game for months. Now you can get from ground to flight to floating in midair in a blink of an eye. The best part is that it's so seamless and fluid. Nothing is clunky or unnecessary, and javelins just gracefully teleport, burst, or barrel roll mid gunfight to avoid enemy fire as well. It's pretty damn awesome. Even sitting here now writing this script, I'm finding it really hard to complain about this game in any capacity. The only question that remains is in my mind, and that is, will this title's endgame be supported long after the launch of the base game? Now this is more and more important these days, where games are beaten so quickly and they're advertised as having, expansive and evolving worlds. I have no doubt that an exciting and well put together endgame exists. I just can't really comment on it right now because I simply haven't seen it and played it, and in fact no content creator from my knowledge has seen it or played it at this moment in time. Once we get all that super rare and powerful gear and our abilities are unlocked for all our javelins, what activities will open up and allow us to really test these newfound powers out? That's the question that I have, and I guess we'll have to wait and see because for now we simply don't know. Now if you're someone who doesn't want to try this game out simply because it's being published by EA, then I would say that's a little bit ridiculous. Now Anthem has come out many times and said that loot boxes will not be present at launch and they won't be added post-launch either. There's also a completely free demo version of the game that everybody can play without having to pre-order or buy anything whatsoever. This should give you an indication that the developers behind Anthem, aka BioWare, are extremely confident in their game and product, and overall it's just going to be well polished. At least that's the vibe that I got from it. Now that's certainly, what the feel was amongst most content creators. Obviously I don't want to speak on their behalf too much, but that's what I felt right there. Now I have no oath or obligation whatsoever to speak highly of this game, but as it stands, I'm freaking excited, and I think once you get your hands on this free demo and try it out, you'll see exactly what I mean. I'll be uploading a lot more Anthem stuff, not only in the coming days, but also in the lead up to the launch of the game. I know it might be a little bit weird seeing as how I'm primarily a PvP guy, but it just feels like this game's special, and I'm going to commit to it for at least a few months to see where it goes. That's going to do it for the video though, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, drop a like as it supports the channel. I'm also giving away some VIP demo codes for Anthem, so if you'd like those, simply like the video, be subscribed, and comment your thoughts down below on the game. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace.